Family of an 18-year-old Wilberforce University freshman from Toledo is suing after her death, which a lawsuit says followed a campus hazing ritual. The complaint alleges Savanna Jones died after an initiation called turtle crossing. That is, says required her to drink an entire bottle of liquor. The lawsuit was filed today in Greene County.
They send their kid off to college and they expect in 4 years their kid's going to come home with a degree and looking forward to the rest of their life. And instead they get a call that says their freshman daughter is no longer living.
The lawsuit filed by the estate of Savanna Jones says she was a freshman living on campus at Wilberforce University. It describes an alcohol-based initiation practice for a social club called the Turtles or Turtle Club, with a ritual called crossing. And it alleges students trying to cross were required to drink an entire bottle of liquor while answering questions or riddles.
They're not even allowed to gain membership into the Turtles if they stop drinking, if they vomit, or if they're incapable of drinking. The sole admission into the Turtles is being able to drink a large amount of alcohol.
The lawsuit says the crossing happened the night of April 29th into the early morning hours of April 30th inside a dorm room at Henderson Hall, where RAs were present and with more than 10 students there.
This hazing ritual happened right under the noses of Wilberforce University. It was in a dormitory room in a residence hall.
Savanna Jones is a graduate of Scott High School. The complaint alleges Jones texted friends she was going to, quote, cross turtles, and that she was, quote, low-key scared. It alleges she quickly became severely intoxicated, vomited, and could not stand.
Savanna Jones had a very large amount of alcohol. She became deeply distressed, in deep trouble at some point, and instead of taking her to a hospital and getting her immediate medical attention, they took her back to her dorm room all the way across campus and left her to die.
The lawsuit alleges no resident assistant, resident life staff member, hall director, or campus safety officer stopped the gathering, despite the school's dry campus policies. The suit brings claims under Ohio's civil anti-hazing law and also alleges negligence and failures in supervision of campus housing. And while investigations continue, Elliott says there are key questions still unanswered.
When Savanna Jones was in deep trouble, and it was clear she was in deep trouble, what did people do? What took them so long? Why didn't they take her immediately to the hospital? Maybe her life could have been saved.
Elliott's firm has represented families in other high-profile Ohio hazing death cases, and he says the family is seeking accountability and changes to stop it from happening again. Wilberforce University said it has no comment on the lawsuit.